The show of shows has returned. This has been the longest for a WrestleMania build, and I think the build suffered because of it. They need to drag the stories into the later parts of April, and also the fact that it feels like they don't feel like they gotta prove a point. WWE's had some weird vibes surrounding it the last month. For some reason, it doesn't feel as optimistic as it was 3 months ago. And the reason why I say this is because everyone had a lot of hopes for this WrestleMania, but then once the build actually went down, they're like, oh, whatever. The vibe could swing either way, and WrestleMania will definitely give us answers. Now, at the end of the day, WrestleMania is WrestleMania. While I don't love the build of the show, the same could be said for last year. The main event carried hard last year. On the other side, there wasn't that same energy here. I would have hoped the build for Cena and Cody had been incredible, but you can't win everything. That said, let's get into it. WrestleMania 91. The game Triple H welcomed everyone to WrestleMania. The stage to me looks like it would fit in East Coast WrestleMania, especially one in New York. It's a weird thought, but just want to mention that. Jey Uso and Gunther, the World Heavyweight Championship. This match opened the show. When Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble, it was a massive surprise and one that many of us could have seen coming. WWE didn't present him all that strong heading to the Rumble, barring a Drew victory on the first Raw on Netflix. His push though should have been more clear to some of us because he's been moving a lot of merch and he has a crowd in the palm of his hand. This is the most important match of his career and it feels like WWE has given everything they could into making this a monumental night for Jey Uso. Bro, I thought Seth Rollins was Jay's DJ now. He had a special entrance and has to be mentioned again. This guy is so damn popular. Gunther didn't need all that and came out casually. Jay surprisingly went for the collar and elbow early on and I'm like, bro, when did you know how to wrestle? Out here trying to out-wrestle a man of the highest honor. He bitched him with that chop. Jay at some points during the match was favoring his arm. It seemed like he was hurting, but that faded away. The match picked up, Jay has his flurry of moves leading to the Uso splash, and Gunther didn't want to deal with this. He tried to steal the match and his frustration was emerging. Uso was in a very tough position, but Yeet Mania was in front of him. He's not going to lose in front of his Yeet fans or whatever the hell they're called. They upped the intensity here. Both men were really laying it in, especially Gunther, but none of his offense was working. Then suddenly Jay becomes re-unlocked. Goes crazy with the super kicks, of course, which is one of his only moves, unfortunately. The strikes, the spear, and then 3 splashes before locking Gunther in his own finisher move to make him tap out. Now that was shocking. It's not the fact that Jey Uso winning is shocking. It's the fact that they made Gunther tap out to his own move. They made Gunther tap out to his own move, and I'm like, bro, if this was back in the 90s and you told freaking Undertaker to lose to a tombstone pile driver, he'd probably kill you if you even considered that thought. With that said, this match was, decent. I'd say it's almost good. The reason why I don't think it was like great or anything like that is because it was missing something. Also, Jey Uso goes back to the same moves, the same sequences, the same combos. So it's like the threshold of the match is already reached. You're not going to go any further than that. Now, does Jey Uso's amount of moves equal the days of the week? Yes. Even then, I might think it's probably less. But this man is massively popular. And in some ways, if he lost here, it would have ruined everything for him. The whole story they were telling, the fact that he's very popular, selling all this merch. If he lost here, in some ways, it would have been catastrophic. So, he obviously earned the victory. He's over. He's very popular. Yeah, I don't think he's the best wrestler and all that, but congrats to him. They finished the whole story. If he's gonna have a lengthy title reign, I just want him to be presented in a way where he has to scratch and claw like crazy to win matches. I don't think he should be winning matches convincingly or anything like that, but yeah, congrats to Jey Uso. Solid opener. I don't think the match reached the expectations I had for it, but it's not an issue. The War Raiders defend the World Tag Team Championships against the New Day. Honestly, this is the match that I was least looking forward to. The New Day's heel turn hasn't been interesting at all, and it seems like it's been going on a loop. Both teams showed up here. The audience couldn't be bothered much by it. The War Raiders are giving them something to react to, but it wasn't much. The action was actually a bit solid here, not gonna lie. Ivar was risking it all. They had some back and forth, but it ended with the New Day winning the titles. They just wanted to get it over with. Kofi jumped onto those titles like he heard there was a free main event push, and there was some decent stuff in this match, but it was a bit hard to get invested in it. But yeah, this match was just there. Jade Cargill faces Naomi. This is a fresh women's match for WrestleMania. They actually put an effort into a story without involving a former women's wrestler or a title. This is one of the first non-title women's singles match in WrestleMania history. Naomi deserves this, of course, and along with Cargill, they have worked super hard to make this storyline work. Non-stop insults and comments towards each other on Twitter and on TV. They were working overtime for this one. The match started off hot. Naomi with her experience wears down Cargill, but she suddenly becomes superhuman with an insane catch of Naomi into a suplex. Naomi started to look like a rookie from here, doing the same move that failed again. She finally bounced back after Cargill made a mistake in the corner and the crowd was finally locked in here. This match did a great job in presenting Jade Cargill as a superwoman, as one of the strongest, most powerful women on the entire roster. Naomi tried her best, but Cargill was unstoppable on this night, and the finish was the best finish on the show up to this point. Plenty of aggression and venom, perfect for this feud. This was easily Cargill's best match on the main roster, and both women made good on the story and reached the potential of the match, which is always good to see because I'm not expecting no classic here, but they fulfilled what the expectation of the match was. Naomi deserved the win, but honestly with the storyline the way it was going, it always made sense for Jade Cargill to win. I mean, she was left sidelined for months in storyline because of an attack by Naomi. Surely she'd get her comeuppance on the biggest show of the year, right? But I like this one. I thought it was solid. I thought they did a good job with Jade Cargill here. Naomi played her role well. Everything aligned with this match. LA Knight defends the United States Championship against Jacob Fatu. This is a match that I thought would silently make its mark on the show. Solo Sikoa had a small moment with Fatu, and looking at it simply, it's kind of unfortunate on a personal level how he main evented SummerSlam last year and now he's not even on the show. But with that said, this match was simple. It was a very overwhelming battle for LA Knight. He had fought to almost no-sell the BFT in the beginning, and he was stuck under him. Simple big man story here, the crowd was more dead than the 2001 X-Pac match, which is so sad to see, especially because this is WrestleMania. It's like, bro, is there fans in there? Is it TKO bots in the crowd? What is this? LA Knight was balling here. Jacob Fatu was matching that kind of crazy, and they unlocked that crowd. LA Knight connected with a crazy BFT off the moonsault, and I'm almost upset that wasn't the finish. Fatu rebounded with 2 moonsaults to win the United States Championship, and it was bound to happen. But I'm glad they made good on the time given to them because this was a good match. I really liked it. They turned that crowd around, which was probably the best part of the entire match. I wasn't happy watching this show, seeing this crowd being all dull, acting all slow. Like, bro, this is freaking WrestleMania. Wake the hell up. It's WrestleMania. You're not gonna find a show any bigger than this. But Fatu wins the title. Ming was at ringside to congratulate him, which is nice, and I thought it was well deserved. Good match. What made it so good is that they noticed the crowd was dull, right? So they keep on knocking on that door. They go crazier. They go with the crazier moves, moments, spots, and that was enough to unlock them. So I thought that was nice. El Grande Americano was supposed to face Rey Mysterio, but Rey unfortunately got injured. So the debuting Rey Fenix replaced him. This is a very high position for Fenix, especially because he debuted a week ago. They could have given it to Dragon Lee for storyline purposes, but they went with the new guy. Vikingo was at ringside, which was a very weird sight to see, but it makes sense since WWE purchased AAA. That in itself is a crazy revelation, but it's WrestleMania right now. He got involved in the match after Americano provoked him, and the action was great. Fenix was super smooth and at times captivating for himself and Americano. Selling well, delivering his own offense well. It was a cool match. He got Chad Gable turning into a luchador, and I thought I was seeing 2007 Kurt Angle for a moment. My eyes flashed before me when I saw El Grande Americano hit a reverse moonsault into a backflip, whatever the hell it was, bro. I was hearing those sirens in Kurt Angle's theme song when I saw that. El Grande Americano was slick and dirty here. He cheated to win this, but they did it in a way to protect Rey Fenix. I just don't think, even though Fenix debuted, that they were gonna wrap up this El Grande Americano story so soon. It just started. I highly doubt they're gonna end it so soon. But this was pretty fun. I enjoyed it because it offered something entirely different to the rest of the card, and the fact that we got to see some flippy stuff here. Do I think it's a bit crazy that Rey Fenix lost one of his first matches? Yeah, but it doesn't really take away the enjoyment of this match, because I thought these two worked very hard to put on a show. Vikingo in the ring is the craziest thing I've seen during the show for sure. Tiffany, Strand, and Charlotte, the WWE Women's Championship is up for grabs. We've heard and saw some odd things in the build to this match. It wasn't a good build before the incident 2 weeks ago, but for good and for bad, the segment put more eyes on the match. I didn't think the match would be bad at all. If anything, it's nights like these where Charlotte shines the brightest. Special entrance for Tiffany Strand. Charlotte arrogantly took control early on and took a page out of Stephanie Vaquer's book. The attire's matching was kind of a weird move. I don't know how that went down ironically, or they were trying to do it on purpose as if she's like the new blonde girl around. I don't know. But it was weird. The commentary talking about Heat was so stupid, and I was about to turn into one of those old guys like Bill Watts or Dusty Rhodes hearing it. Why do we have to mention backstage here stupid nonsense that's outside of the wrestling world? With that said, these two had some time on their hands and a very open opportunity to have the best match on the show. There were some awkward moments though throughout it. For some reason, once they get things going, there's an awkward moment. It kept on happening until the very end. Charlotte had hurt her knee during the match in storyline, which didn't allow for her to properly lock in the figure 4. Strand had the same moment in a different language with the springboard. This was a rough and physical match. Match wasn't coherent, and it felt like Charlotte was telling Tiffany what to do at some points. Good knee work from both women, and judging by their faces, they were roughened up like crazy. It's such a strange match that if you didn't watch it, you just have to understand what I'm talking about. Just when I think they're actually going to do something, the match ends with Tiffany Strand retaining the title. I was actually stunned how she retained the title, because I thought to myself, we were about to see like Charlotte under the brightest lights, this like WrestleMania Charlotte and all that, but we didn't see that at all. And even though it was a big victory, I didn't feel like it was the biggest win in her career. At the end of the day, this match had some awkward moments. You do wish the match could have been special and whatnot, but it just wasn't to be. It just wasn't that night. Crowd did care a bit, but that crowd's my biggest enemy today, to be honest with you guys. WrestleMania, they're acting like it's freaking main event or AEW Dark or something. I don't know, but weird match. It wasn't entirely bad, but it wasn't what I expected. And the main event, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk all vying for glory and possibly Paul Heyman. The build for this match was the weirdest of them all. I thought Seth Rollins grew into it comfortably by the end of it, as they made his intentions and emotion much more prominent. Other than that, this did seem like the beginning of the end of the Wise Man and Tribal Chief combo. Rollins had a great entrance. Roman didn't even need to do much, but he had that aura, and CM Punk had an amazing video package with this Fire Burns plank. It's one of the best packages in recent memory. It showed Punk's journey through WWE and his rise to the top. Living Color performed Cult of Personality while Paul Heyman entered the ring with the Second City Sing. It's like it never left because that was the same story 12 years ago at WrestleMania 29. You can see how happy Punk was to have this moment. Man had tears in his eyes. Now with that said, this match was toxic. They got Roman acting up here with a dive over the barricade. He looked very good here in form, and it's the best version of Roman Reigns we've seen since WrestleMania 40. There was plenty of heat and animosity between these guys. They understood that the main event of WrestleMania is the main event, and I think this was one of the first matches on the show to actually feel like WrestleMania. White Party Seth Rollins was wild in here. There was this moment where he caught heat and went crazy. He dropped both of them, hit a stomp on Reigns, but it wasn't enough for the victory. And Roman had a great kick out here, I gotta say that. Then Punk had his moment of excitement. This irritated Rollins so bad that he convinced Roman to go back to the Shield days. He turned on him. I like this moment. Reigns can't let go of Rollins being the one that changed everything, and that powerbomb on Rollins, it was years of hatred behind it. But even with that in his spirit, it wasn't enough. This whole thing was incredible and gives you that feeling of a match you don't want to end. Then the question came up. What about Paul Heyman? They switched the light on him with that steel chair on some dramatic cinematic experience, and this is what Roman lives for. Now this iteration of cinema, I don't really call it cinema, but you get the whole point, was actually good. Heyman turned on Punk after teasing he would do the same to Roman, and this guy didn't want to do it, but in his eyes, it was CM Punk that made him do it. Roman thought he had his moment after 11 years to return the favor on the biggest stage in the biggest match of their careers. Instead, it was a ploy. And the same tragedy that folded 11 years ago was the same story. Roman probably couldn't trust his bet to stay still at this point because he had Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins turn on him, two of the closest people in his life. He's gonna be eating his food with a little paranoia. Seth Rollins scored the victory in one of the biggest triple threat matches in WrestleMania history, and I can't say it wasn't deserved. This is a proper WrestleMania main event. You had the action, intensity, drama, and an outcome that would allow for you to look forward. That's what you want in a WrestleMania match. They understood the assignment for this match. Everything about it aligned. I don't have a single problem with this match at all. It was great. What makes it so great? Every one of those elements, they had them there. They had all the elements together, all rolled up into one to make this one of the better WrestleMania matches of the last couple of years. Rollins turning wasn't too surprising because he kind of showed during the build that he hated these men so much, so clearly he would do something devious just to get at them. I do think it's a bit weird how Paul Heyman's going to become Seth Rollins' manager, but they're going to explain that one easily. Alright, that's WrestleMania 41 Night 1. Not the best show. The problem with this show is the fact that at times it didn't feel like WrestleMania, and a part of that is because of the crowd and the match choices. Some of the matches here were just plain odd, like Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. I think that should have been much better than it was. It felt like, even though they had 19 minutes, it felt like the match needed a little bit more to become something great. Another issue is the fact that WWE or TKO is obsessed with advertisement and sponsors and these celebrity appearances, when their main focus should be on the show. It's like, look, our cool friends are watching wrestling here. They're watching this thing. Obviously get what it is, it's money and all that, but to a personal viewer like me, it is beyond annoying. Other than that, you had Jade Uso and Gunther, which was a decent match, but not many of these matches felt like WrestleMania. I'd like to Jade, Cargill, and Naomi, LA Knight, and Jacob Fatu, but there wasn't that special WrestleMania feeling there with the show. That's the issue here. So WWE has a lot to work with tomorrow. They got a lot of good matches. They didn't balance the shows properly, and Night 1 suffered because of it. So yeah. Alright, what do you guys think of WrestleMania Night 1? Please comment down below. That's the first video. Make sure you hit the splash on the like button and perhaps the stomp on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.